This morning on KVUE Weekend Daybreak, Vice President Kamala Harris is on her way to Austin. Why some Texas officials want her to see one of Texas' biggest challenges. Plus, night one of ACL officially in the books. We're looking at what you all thought and giving a glimpse of what's still ahead. And let the rivalry begin today. We're just a few more hours from the Red River Showdown kickoff. Our sports team will be there live throughout the show. Good morning. Thanks for watching KVUE Weekend Daybreak. I'm Dominique Newland.
And I am Jordan Darrensburg. It's 8 a.m. on the dot on this Saturday morning. And I got to tell you, I was out there on the corner of Lamar and Barton Springs yesterday going live at 5 and 6. It looked pretty litty.
I was there.
Oh.
It was a long night, but I had so much fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you had a lot of fun. I want to pull up to one of those. If y'all got extra tickets,
send them Jordan's way.
But anyways, let's take a live look at Zilker Park. And there's a nice live look there in the background. The calm before the storm, at least metaphorically.
The ACL storm.
Yeah, the ACL storm. No literal storms are expected. We expect to be mainly dry, and we're going to be looking at temperatures right now. They're going to be mainly in around those mid to upper 60s, lower 60s at the airport, upper 60s as you head out to Camp Mabry. And right now, some upper 50s popping up, even mid 50s as you head out to Gillespie County. Fredericksburg checking in at 54, so really comfortable morning as we suspected for you guys out in the hill country. And we're going to be getting to the upper 80s later on this afternoon as you kick off day 2 of Austin City Limits. And also at noon, that's when the Red River Rivalry kicks off. Oklahoma taking on those Longhorns. Those Horns hope to ride that momentum into that victory against OU and bring that golden hat back to Austin where it belongs. Temperatures in the mid 70s, mainly partly cloudy skies as you're getting ready to head out the door and head on that road up to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I'm here to tell you right now also, we're going to have highs hovering around those upper 80s, lower 90s, especially out in the coastal plains is where we can see the warmest temperatures. LaGrange as well as Lockhart, according to our model data, look at 91, and San Marcos checking in with highs in those lower 90s also according to our model data. We're going to talk a little bit more about your forecast coming up a little bit, including some rain chances and a tropical system that might somewhat include our rain chances, even though it's well down to the south of us. Dominique?
All right, Jordan, thanks so much. Well, you're taking a live look at Austin's International Airport this morning, where in just a little bit, Vice President Kamala Harris will pass through. VP Harris is making a day trip today to deliver a keynote address at a fundraiser for the Texas Democratic Party. The vice president will also meet with abortion right advocates. Texas Republicans are criticizing her visit. In a statement, U.S. Senator John Cornyn said if the vice president is coming to Texas, she should be going to the border.
We need help, and we need it now.
The mayor of New York announced a state of emergency this week. Migrants seeking asylum have been bussed into the city from border states since the spring, and now the mayor says the city is struggling to provide for them. In just a few days, at least 18 migrant buses have made their way to New York, and more than 17,000 migrants have arrived since April.
Although our compassion is limitless, our resources are not.
The majority of the buses are from Texas, sent by Governor Greg Abbott. He started sending them to New York and other so-called sanctuary cities to send a message that Democratic policies on immigration are creating a crisis at the border. Just yesterday, the governor tweeted, "We'll continue busing migrants to New York City, D.C., and Chicago to relieve our overwhelmed border towns until Biden does his job to secure the border." 8:04 your time now. We're following a major move out of Uvalde. The school district suspended its entire police department yesterday, and this decision comes after parents of children lost in the shooting at Robb Elementary led 245 hours of peaceful protests outside of the school district's headquarters. KENS 5 reporter Alicia Neves spoke with some of the families. And Alicia, parents don't take pleasure in this decision.
The uncle of Jackie Cáceres says nobody wins in this case. The children can't come home. School employees are retiring or they're being suspended. What this is, he says, is accountability. UCISD police officers suspended until further notice pending an investigation, and District Superintendent Dr. Hal Harrell possibly retiring. Two big announcements in what parents call just one piece of the puzzle.
We still haven't heard what involvement the Uvalde Police Department had, why some of their officers are still patrolling the streets, taking security jobs. DPS is investigating, but we don't know who they're investigating other than Officer Elizondo. There's a lot of missing pieces.
Kimberly is the mother of Lexi Rubio.
I think she's happy that we're not giving up.
She says there's still so many questions that need answers, and families are owed an explanation.
I want to know, what time did the officers get there? You know, what information were they told, and how did they respond with that information? There's a lot that we have still questions about.
While UCISD officers are under suspension, they'll fill other roles in the district. In a letter to staff Friday, UCISD also announced Lieutenant Miguel Hernandez and Ken Muller, Director of Student Services, are on administrative leave. Muller chose to retire instead.
We are pleased with this, but it's not over yet.
Jesse is the uncle of Jackie Cáceres.
You still don't know the why.
He tells us it's important to learn how we got to where we are today. A good start, he says, is UCISD making more informed decisions on who they hire. He believes it's time for the superintendent to retire for the good of the community. The first discussions on this matter will happen in a board meeting Monday.
Dr. Harrell's a nice man. He's a very well-liked man. He's been with the community for a very long time. But unfortunately, this tragedy was mismanaged from the beginning, even before May 24th.
So what happens next? Come Monday, who is going to protect these children in the absence of the district's entire police force? UCISD says they've requested the help of additional DPS troopers to patrol on campus, as well as during extracurricular activities. Reporting in Uvalde, I'm Alicia Nieves.
Gubernatorial candidate Beto O'Rourke begins his statewide weekend of action today. Hundreds of block walks and phone banks are taking place today. He's holding a few organizing events, too, to pull in volunteers. One will be right out in Georgetown on East 2nd Street, starting at 3:30 this afternoon. And we talked about it just a little bit ago. It is game day, and UT and OU are facing off for the 118th Red River Showdown this morning. Kickoff at 11 a.m. Sports Director Jeff Jones and Corey Mose are in Dallas right now. A lot of eyes on today, you guys. What can we expect?
No, Dominique, you are right. There are a lot of eyes on this game. Not a lot of eyes or people in the stadium quite yet. It's the calm before the storm, and you ask what you can expect. Well, you can expect a Red River Showdown unlike many of the ones that we've seen in recent history. Corey, both teams in this game are unranked for the first time since 1998. Texas, the favorite in this game for the first time since 2009, and they might be the favorite because they had the edge, especially over an unimpressive OU on one side of the ball.
Yeah, OU just hasn't really been good on defense. They're actually last in the Big 12 when it comes to yards per game, which is something that's surprising because when Brent Venables was hired, his specialty is defense. And so you would expect that Sooner defense to be a lot better than they are right now, but you know whose defense is playing well? UT.
Yeah, UT's looking good. They're getting after the passer along with the best in the nation. UT actually ranks second in the nation in quarterback pressures. Oklahoma, 88th in how many sacks they've given up. I expect the Longhorns to get after whoever is playing quarterback for the Sooners today because their starter did go down with an injury last week. So OU has injuries, struggles on defense, struggles on the offensive line. They're unranked. They are 0-2 in conference, but the Longhorns say they are not going to be fooled. They know this OU team is going to give them their best shot.
I just know that, you know, when they play us, they're not going to play like a 0-2 team.
What a team did previously doesn't really matter to us.
We know more than ever we're going to get the best version of them. We need to make sure that they get the best version of us.
They're definitely going to swing as hard as they can in that game, and we got to be prepared for what's going to happen and what not necessarily what we've seen.
Yes, they do. Hey, a moment ago, we let you know that this is the first time since 1998 that these two teams, OU and UT, have matched up as unranked opponents. They've done that 12 times. Texas has won 10 of those matchups.
Wow.
So the unranked storyline is definitely a key storyline in this game, but unfortunately a storyline or a theme of the Longhorn season so far has been injuries. But we did get some good injury news this week.
Yeah.
Corey, what do we think's happening?
It's been reported that QB1 is back. Quinn Ewers, he'll be on the starting lineup, I guess you could say, for today's game. And it's going to be a bit of a surprise because we haven't seen Quinn for weeks. So how will he come in the biggest game of the season so far? Right. We'll see. But I will say this, he's been locked and loaded, and Coach Sark has always described him as even kill. So any game to come back, to have that type of composure is key for the Longhorns.
Yeah, even killed, so he's prepared mentally, and we've actually heard that he's been throwing in practice for 3 or 4 weeks now, even after that injury. So it seems like he's about prepared physically now as well. We're going to give you much more right here from the Cotton Bowl a little later this morning in Daybreak. But Dominique, I'll toss it back to you right now.
All right, a lot of Longhorn fans going to be excited about that news. Jeff Jones, Corey Mose live at the Cotton Bowl Stadium in Dallas. Thank you both. And we're just getting started on KVU Weekend Daybreak. Next, ACL Weekend 1 officially begins, and how first responders are preparing for the next couple of days. But first, a Night 1 recap and a look at who's taking the stage all tonight. Stay with us. Welcome back. ACL is officially in full swing. And right now, you're taking a live look over Zilker Park, where day 2 of the festival will kick off later this afternoon. Last night were performances from SZA, Carly Rae Jepsen, and the Chicks. SZA shocked fans with her promise to come back to Austin for a 6-day tour she was originally supposed to have back in 2021. I was there. I can confirm that. She said it. And she canceled it due to an illness at the time. But all the tickets sold back in 2021 will be eligible for her upcoming concert. And the Chicks took the stage with a mission in mind. Their entire set was based on the politics of being unapologetic women. Well, with Austin city limits underway, first responders warned attendees about recreational drugs in light of the growing number of fentanyl overdoses. We learned medical staff and first responders at ACL will have naloxone on hand for any overdoses that may happen. Austin Travis County EMS said they see a similar number of calls, but they're far more concentrated than a normal weekend in Austin.
Obviously, we don't recommend using any illicit substances. If you are offered any sort of drug, pill, whatever the case may be, if it's not prescribed to you by a doctor and legally dispensed by a pharmacy, just don't take it. As Corporal Silva said, you have no idea what may be in that pill. You know, it's no secret that we've had issues with illicitly manufactured drugs that look like legally manufactured pills.
Now, nobody is advocating for drug use, but know that it will probably happen. And Travis County Judge Andy Brown said it provided 60 doses of naloxone to bartenders working at ACL, and ACL gave doses to other non-medical staff to use in case of emergencies. And there are dozens of artists performing the next 2 weekends at ACL, and some of them are from right here in Austin, from our music scene. One of the local bands performing is Luna Luna. They said they don't really have a genre, but are aligned with alternative pop and sing both in English and Spanish. The 4 native Texans moved to Austin more than a year ago after being based in the Dallas area for about 5 years. This weekend will be their first time playing the Austin City Limits Music Festival, a much different story than last year.
I used to work at Whole Foods last year, and I had all these customers say, like, have you ever been to ACL? And I'm like, no. And they're like, you should try to go next year. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll try. And, like, you know, we're here.
A full circle moment. Now, if you want to watch Luna Luna perform at ACL, their show is tomorrow morning on the Barton Springs stage. That starts at 11:45. Day 2 of the Austin City Limits Music Festival all starts today after a very busy and exciting start to the festival yesterday. In case you don't know, there are 8 stages, dozens of performers, and thousands of people at all Zilker Park this weekend. The big headliners tonight include Pink, Flume, and Diplo. The crowd yesterday was filled with locals, out-of-towners, first-timers, and people that have gone to ACL for years. They say the atmosphere and the variety of music is what keeps them coming back.
Artist-wise, SZA, Casey Musgraves, and Paramore. Paramore, yeah, for sure.
What about you?
She dragged me with, so I'm with her.
Paramore's enough for the both of us.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think so too, yeah.
I like to come to find new artists. So like every year I come and I find someone I'd never seen before, and they end up being the best show like of the weekend. So like last year's Black Pumas, I can't remember who it was before that, but I'm looking forward to finding them this year. So.
Yeah, I saw Noah Cyrus last night. She was really good. Gates open at 11. This morning, make sure you know what you are allowed to bring and know the best ways to get to the festival. We have multiple different resources for you on how to be prepared on kview.com. It's always best to be prepared. I know even like with the wristbands, you can put your credit card on it, so that's how you pay. That was a lifesaver last night.
That is absolutely really cool.
Yeah, so then you don't have to bring your card, don't have to worry about losing it. It was nice.
Oh yeah, that's actually really nice too. You just have to literally bring your ID. You could put your card on your wristband. I mean, goodness.
They got it all figured out. Technology these days,
technology
right?
is unbelievable. I've never heard of cards being put on wristbands before. I've heard of tickets being put on wristbands, but cards? That's a new one for me. Good job. Props to Austin City Limits. And it should be a nice occasion for that, by the way, as well. And we're taking a live look outside, mainly at Zilker Park, as well as on top of our roof in North Austin. And we're looking at upper 60s right now at Camp Mabry. But it's a mixed bag. Some areas are down in the 50s, including Leander at 57 and Lakeway checking in at 61 and 60 as you head out to Driftwood. So nice mixed bag of mid, upper 60s and lower 60s, mainly even upper 50s. And that's repeated throughout the entirety of the KV viewing area, especially the Hill Country, where we're in those upper 50s as you head out to Llano and at mid 50s as you head out to Gillespie County. But the coastal plains hovering around mainly those low to mid 60s. For your ACL, noon is when the celebrations start and we get up to the upper 80s by the time we get to 3 p.m. We're expecting highs later on this afternoon in the upper 80s. And if you're heading up to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, you're probably watching us on the app right now. Hopefully you're on the road because that traffic is something else. Looking at mid 70s, partly cloudy skies. So it should be a really nice occasion as the Horns absolutely beat up the Sooners, who again are not doing so hot. Lower 80s out in the Hill Country, but then upper 80s, even lower 90s in some spots in the coastal plains. Camp Mabry checking in at 89 for a high according to our model data, and lower 60s tonight, mainly along and east of I-35, and then mid to upper 50s once again if you're heading out to the Hill Country later on this evening. Allergy count has weeds and fall elm in the medium, grass and mold checked in the low. So the weeds not as high today, and that's good news. And that's why I've given today a 9 still on the Jordan meter. So we are still seeing a little bit more of that weed pollen, not as elevated as yesterday, but it is still present. And as you head through the rest of the weekend, tomorrow we're going to be looking at highs getting to those upper 80s as well. So make sure you're lathering on that sunscreen, and it's got to be the lotion. The aerosol can sunscreen is not allowed. And for the next 6 to 10 days, above average precipitation, mainly along and west of I-35 in far west Texas. We really need the rain, and Julia could be the culprit of it as a frontal boundary moves through late Wednesday into early Thursday. Here it is, by the way, and it is expected to make landfall throughout the day tomorrow as a Category 1 hurricane. And as you go through next week, here is that moisture from Julia coming up from Wednesday and then into early Thursday morning as the front moves through. We do expect to dry out for Thursday evening and into Friday morning for the start of weekend 2 with mid 80s for highs, looking really nice again.
Wanners, they lucked out. Can I say that? Weekend wanners? Yes. They lucked out. Thanks so much, Jordan. And next up on Daybreak, tomorrow is the last game of the regular season for the Verde and Black, but you won't see one Austin FC member on the Q2 field. Plus,
I think that there needs to be more conversation that happens.
a doctor's warning for teens as their social media use continues to rise. Stay with us.